Well, hi there, and welcome to Home Wizards, where we love to help improve your home and improve your life. I'm Cindy Dole.
I'm Eric Stromer.
And you're looking at some gorgeous pictures of tomatoes.
I got to tell you, this website, Tomatomania.com, is beautiful, and I'll tell you why, because it shows you real, unaffected tomatoes that are grown naturally and organically. And
in all colors.
And frankly, I'm a little mad about the supermarket and the expectation of people when they buy a tomato, they think it's supposed to be this perfect cylinder or sphere, right? You see these tomatoes in their natural state. They're sort of irregular, and the colors are not quite as perfectly red as we see them. All these companies now dye tomatoes, and they pick them when they're not ripe, and they don't taste good. When you grow your own tomatoes, man, it's such a beautiful experience. And by the way, to that, I made an amazing marinara last night.
Well, you didn't bring any. I'm here. You're all talking about it. I mean,
Don't be a hater. Don't be a marinara hater. Understand that I have gallons left over.
Okay, freeze it and share it.
I'll bring it.
Well, we thought we would talk about tomatoes because this is the time to start thinking about them. The daylight hours are getting longer. We're going to be springing forward. And the cool nights, it's proof that it's just about the perfect planting time, almost, right? And so we thought we would get smart with some terminology and things to think about to have the rockin' tomatoes of your dreams. Especially if you want to grow them from seed.
And 2 years ago, I had great tomato crop. Last year, not so good. This year, I'm going to do it, and I vow, I promise you, I swear to everyone in the world.
We're going to have great tomatoes?
Great tomatoes.
You need 6 hours of sunlight. That's the key. You got to have the sunlight. And there's a lot of other factors. But Tomatomania season starts coming up in about a week at Rogers Gardens in Corona Del Mar. And it's one of these websites and one of these events. They kind of call it the Woodstock of tomato land. And you know that last year, for the first time in many, many years, with all the whole Victory Garden, Veggie Garden craze, more people grew tomatoes last year in 2011 than in a decade.
Is that right?
People are loving tomatoes.
They're so good for you.
And they're good for you, and we just want to be successful at growing tomatoes.
Right.
So we thought that we would talk about some of the terms and some of the things to think about. And what the heck is a beefsteak?
You know, I don't know. I just know that my mom used to plant them back in Chicago, and they were big.
Okay.
But what's the origin of the name? Do we know?
What the heck is a beefsteak?
Yeah.
Well, the beefsteak, I think it's because it's so juicy and beefy. It's almost like a piece of meat. It's a meaty tomato. But it is one of the largest tomato cultivars, if you are, out there. Sometimes they weigh 2 pounds.
I think
2 pounds.
I used to cut them and put them on a piece of bread with salt and pepper.
Oh,
That's
yum!
it.
They're great.
Yeah,
maybe a little basil on there. But this
maybe a little bacon.
Oh,
that's a BLT
now
right
you've gone
there,
from
baby
healthy
doll.
to that's okay.
Well,
Canadian bacon, lean.
Well,
leaner.
maybe.
But they come in every color. I mean, you were talking about looking at some of these rich photos of tomatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, purple black tomatoes are not very popular.
Gorgeous.
Yellow tomatoes, red to pale.
Yeah, these great heirlooms. You know, they're so fun to grow and to eat. I love them.
The beefsteak tomato takes on kind of like a kidney bean shape, and it spreads out to the side, and it has a bunch of these compact seed cavities throughout it, and the core is practically non-existent. And because of this, it holds together really well when it's cut. So I guess that's the name, beefsteak. You're cutting it like you're cutting a steak, and you were right. It's the ideal for the tomato sandwich.
It sure is.
See?
Yeah.
So let's talk about other terms to think about.
Okay.
So you're loving the beefsteak tomato?
Love them. And have had luck growing them, by the way.
Oh, you have?
I have.
From plant or
from plant. Now, so I've never done it from seed. I've only done it from plants.
The seed thing takes a lot of patience, but it can be really very satisfying. And we're going to walk you through that.
Okay, good.
But some of the terms, hybrid tomato. What the heck is a hybrid tomato?
Don't
right?
know.
And
what is it? I want to know.
It's not a car.
No,
it can be, but it's not in this case.
Okay.
It's basically specially bred to be really super tough. Okay, tough in terms of great taste, tough in terms of fighting disease, great color. So it's kind of like the best of everything. So hybrid, almost think of superhuman powers. Hybrid tomato.
But now, would this be genetically engineered?
Well, it's bred, sure. It's bred by growers. They work and they crossbreed these varieties. Sure,
but it's not that crazy Monsanto business.
No, it's not crazy.
Because I'm not a fan of that stuff.
It's healthy tomato growing.
That's all I care about.
It's cross pollination.
Fine.
So, but think you'll hear names like Early Girl or Better Boy or Sun Gold. That's actually the world's favorite tomato, by the way. But those are all
What's the world's favorite?
supposedly Sun Gold. Sun Gold is
No,
the
I don't
world's
know.
favorite.
I don't know if I know
And
this
it's a
one.
hybrid. So, but basically, hybrids also suffer from cardboard tasting tomatoes. You know what I mean?
I know.
That is so disappointing.
I don't like it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You want to have this juicy, rich, red,
Almost like you can eat them like
tangy.
an apple.
Yeah, it's sweet and tangy,
You know?
and then it's just like yuck.
No, it's terrible.
So we want to avoid that. But anyway, those are the definers of the
You know, like you go to a chain restaurant and you get a tomato and a salad, and it just has no
colorless.
flavor, and
It's
it almost
colorless.
it just makes me mad. Sometimes I'll
Send
even
it back?
I'll push my plate away and go like that.
Yeah.
And then I'll go, let me get some bacon.
Thank you.
Let's just get over this whole thing. While I'm here, when in Rome, basically is the idea. When you're at those kind of restaurants, you just go with eggs and bacon.
Sometimes even fast food places. If you get like a hamburger and you notice that their tomato is bad, that just
who's got
ruins
pretty good tomatoes?
In-N-Out.
Thank you.
Some of the other tomatoes, they can be really bad. Anyway,
Bad.
Heirloom tomatoes, that's another definition to know as we're getting geared up for tomato season, right? Now, heirloom classifications, the common quality is that they're open pollinated, which means that the properly saved and seeded from these plants will mean, that you can produce the same tomato in the future season.
Okay, so it's repeatable.
Yeah.
I see.
In fact, some of them have been around for hundreds of years.
Wow, I would venture to say that beefsteak's been around for a while, because boy, that thing works, doesn't it? It
sure
just
does.
blows up on you. It gets huge. That's that classic. The vine is sagging. It's almost on the ground. It's big. It's about 5-6 inches in diameter. You're going to have a delectable BLT.
It's a dream come true.
I like it.
Something to know also in tomato land is determinate. And this tomato class produces fruit on the top or the end of the main stem. And when that happens, it grows, basically upward growth stops. So as a result, it turns out to be a smaller but also less messy tomato plant.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And that's called a determinate. And you don't want to pinch it aggressively, as the side branching will be, it'll help make more fruit, more tomato.
Okay.
And then the indeterminate is basically the opposite. It's generally larger, but also kind of scraggly.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't flower as much, but it means that the fruits are on the side branching, and you're going to have a lot of steady productivity. So you're going to have a lot of tomatoes. It may look a little messy. Who cares? Maybe you just put that on your side yard.
Stop it. Why are you a tomato taunter?
Okay. It was just a little personal reference. How about days to maturity? Now, when you buy tomatoes, you always think, what's this days to maturity thing?
Yeah.
That's the amount of days from the time you plant it to the time you can put it in your salad or make a sandwich. Days to maturity.
Okay, that makes sense.
You're planting a 6-week-old seedling, which more or less means that it'll be offered at planting time in the spring. And then hopefully if you have everything working right, you should be able to eat it, by summertime.
Okay.
Summertime, you're having salsa. Summertime, you're having that great beef steak tomato sandwich. So that's why we're going to think about these things now, because we're planning for
Gotta
our
get on
very
it
near
now.
future. We're planning for meals. We're eating our way around the country
Boy, are we ever.
because we're gaining travel points somehow. I don't know why.
I'm gaining girth.
You are not. Amendment is something. Amendment. That's that
Yes.
organic matter, and that's one of the keys to any veggie garden.
And you know what the mistake is? People don't go deep enough. You really
They
want
don't.
to get 6, 12 inches down, and turn that stuff. Put new soil in. If you've got too much, take some out and start over. Sprinkle that in another part of your garden. But you want to get the amendment in there, and almost as if it's a brand new plot if you're using the same area you were doing last time.
And you can buy them in bags at your local nursery, but you
Yeah.
also can make your homemade compost. It makes a great, perfect amendment.
And here's a little tip: when you're introducing amendment into a garden bed, you can get on your knees with a pad. And you can dig that way. If you dig from your knees, it's much easier on the back.
That's the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
okay. But yes, we're talking about tomatoes
Yep.
and how to amend your vegetable garden all year long and how to have just great smoking beefsteak tomatoes.
Yes.
It's time to get ready and be thinking about it. We have some more solutions for you. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, Home Wizards, as we love to help improve your home and improve your life. We're back after this.
I'm gonna keep well my vegetables, cart off and sell my vegetables.
Up in the morning, out in the garden, get you a ripe one, don't get a hard one. Plant them in the spring, eat them in the summer.
Yep.
All winter
That's my song, man.
culinary bun.
See? He talked about bacon and tomatoes. Here it comes now. Wait for the chorus.
Every time I go out and pick me a big
Homegrown tomatoes. Yeah, see, we love to make you smile and laugh as we're improving your home and improving your life. That's Eric Stromer. I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards, and we're talking about homegrown tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And then what do you need to think about so you know all, we're kind of helping you demystify all the language of tomatoes so you don't
Right.
feel like, you're not a professional tomato grower. Because I think that, statistics are showing that last year more people grew tomatoes than ever before. But I bet you more people than ever also had a failure problem and had a crisis with their tomatoes.
Sure.
Because it's disappointing. You try so
It
hard,
is, yeah.
and then you don't have that great luscious
And I think,
tomato.
and that was my mistake last year. I think I didn't amend the soil deep enough. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm really going to kind of come at you with this. You have
I
to
can't-
go down
oh, you're
12,
coming at me.
Come at you,
You
12
are
inches. I want you to get in there, amend the soil, start over again if you're in the same garden.
Well,
bed.
it's basically like a person. If a person going night-night, that person wants to be in a deep, fluffy bed with a lot of blankets.
not a flat, hard prison roll.
No. With a single sheet.
No.
You want layers of fluff.
That's right.
That's what the tomatoes want.
That's all
They're not
they
asking
need.
too much.
No. And how much sun? 6 hours a day, right?
At least 6.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
All right, so as we're talking you through some of the tomato terminology, mulch. Now, any material or materials added to or laid on the top of the soil basically is mulch, right?
Yeah.
It's going to keep it nice and toasty. It's going to protect it from critters. It's going to help in weed control. I mean, hay, plastic sheeting, bark chips, wine corks.
I
Yesterday's newspaper.
I got to tell you, I don't like the bark chips that are bright red.
Oh, no,
I
don't
do not-
either.
I do not like
can
the way
I
those
tell
look.
you, it looks so phony.
Doesn't it?
Yuck. It's like that orange tan in a bottle.
Yes.
Terrible.
QT. Remember that?
Bad. Don't
Yeah.
get the nice, deep, dark, rich, dark chocolate
That's
looking
it.
one. It
That's
looks
the
like
one.
it just came from the redwoods.
Right.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that
Yeah.
out. Because that's a sign of things to come. Your tomatoes are going to look like that.
Ooh, and what is? I wonder what that dye is. It can't be good for you if you're
can't-
eating stuff, right? Yeah.
Fertilizer. I mean, your plants want food,
Yep.
right? Whether it's liquid or granular or pellets. But basically, for your tomatoes, they're going to want some nitrogen, some phosphorus, and some potassium. And there are 3 numbers on the front of the fertilizer bag that you get. And for the tomatoes, you want to get the more balanced formulation. So remember this, Eric, when you're going to go shopping for your tomatoes and your fertilizer,
Right.
the bag should say 30-00. No, don't get that. Fertilizer saying 30-00. It's lawn food. You want it to be very close to that, all right? And you want it to be in that same range for your tomatoes. Again, you want to make sure that they have the 3 numbers on the bag are very similar. So you have in that same range of 30, 0, and 0.
Okay.
Now, pinching is the act of thinning or pruning your tomato. Do you ever pinch your tomatoes?
No, I don't know. I don't even know what that would do. What is
You
that?
literally are pinching and pinching with
Stop
your fingers.
doing that
You're
with your
pinching,
fingers. Don't
pinching,
do that.
Pinching.
What do you mean?
It means you're removing the side growth, just almost
Oh.
like with your roses.
So
You're
it's
pruning.
almost like pruning. Okay.
But you're pinching.
Okay.
You're removing with
You're like a
literally
little
with your
lobster.
fingers.
You look like a tiny little lobster.
Like you're pinching.
Okay, stop it.
And you do that, and this helps to thin the plant and helps them get more light. See, can you think about it? It's got whiskers,
Yeah.
and you want to thin out the whiskers so the tomato can
I see.
get more light. You can
Okay.
do that.
Did you know that tomato roots can grow up to 10 feet deep? Did you know that?
I didn't.
It's amazing. That's why, again, make sure
Amend.
you amend.
Amend.
Yeah.
Amend. In fact, if tomatoes were left to their own thing, if they could do whatever they want,
Yeah.
the thicker, bushier ones would produce more fruit, but then it would be smaller, or the fruit size would be less uniform. So some people, they'll, again, go pinching and pinching and pinching,
Right.
almost religiously.
Yeah.
But some others, though, don't pinch at all. because it's too much work. It just depends how bushy you want it to be. But a little bit of pinching is going to help the tomato get more sunlight.
And you know what else I found that I really enjoyed? I you know how they sell those things that almost look like old oil rig refineries around the tomato? You know,
the cages?
They're cages.
Yes.
Those really help, but I don't like necessarily the metal ones because it felt to me like my tomato branches, upon getting the weighty tomatoes, would break in
snapping.
half. Right.
Yeah, because of I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and so I kind of did this thing with brown string, you know, like hemp string, and created these little trellises out of string. It worked
more
out
gentle.
really well.
It kind of gives it more support.
Yeah,
huh?
and they were able to the branches were able to lay out across this webbing, if you will, that made a really nice purchase for them.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So see, tomatoes are so much like people. They want a great bed with a nice fluffy
No
mattress
whiskers.
with layers of no whiskers.
Want to put down their roots deep.
And they want a support system.
And they want to be next to bacon.
And they want a support system.
Yeah.
And they want friends. And bacon can be a good friend.
That's right.
You don't want to get blossom end rot. Okay, has this happened to you when the tomato ripens and it almost like splits? It has a brown bruise section on the bottom, and that's because it happens at the beginning of the season when the temperatures start to get really warm, and then it evens off. And the Roma tomatoes especially, they seem to be the ones that are really susceptible to get that kind of that bruisey thing, and then it
pops open.
Terrible.
Don't like it.
So you don't want to get that blossom and rot. It's also thought to be due to calcium deficiency. So you might want to add a little calcium.
Okay.
Or even eggshells.
Oh.
To your amendment.
Boy, I go through a lot of eggs.
See, so
I eat about 6 egg whites a day, 6 to 8.
That's great.
Yeah.
You aren't just swallowing them raw. You're
no,
whipping them up.
I give the yolks to Jack the cat, who is now
Jack the Fat.
Enormous.
Boy, Jack the Fat cat really
Jack
eats
is
well.
Really big.
Man.
We're gonna put pictures of Jack the way he sleeps on the website. It's really cute.
On his back with
Straight
his legs
on his
up?
back, legs out.
Wide open?
Right in the middle of a party, he doesn't move. He just owns the kitchen floor.
With his legs wide open.
I think he's kind of poisoned from the egg yolks.
That's what Abby does too. The poison from the yolks.
But so wait a minute.
Eggshells.
So I take these eggshells, I crumple them up in my hand, and I just throw them in the garden?
Yeah, you want to throw them basically on top of your mulch in there, and that's going to help give more calcium to your tomatoes.
You know, I saw the other day at Costco, actually, they had a mulch device
that kind of whips it up.
$150, and it had 2 different containers. It looked really convenient and handy. I would have purchased it, but I already got myself a little iPod dock.
Oh, see.
And way too much extra stuff, so I had to space it out.
Well, save this for your next errand to Costco.
Do you get sucked into this at Costco?
Of course.
I cannot believe it.
You always get one little toy, don't you?
I come home with
it's Eric's toy.
I know.
It's nice.
You
need
crazy.
to reward yourself.
I'm nuts.
All right. You want to watch out for these different kind of diseases that can be really nasty. And make your tomato growing almost completely doomed.
Which is what?
Verticillium and fusarium wilt. In other words, the entire plant looks like it's got cancer. It just gets so weak, it wilts, and then suddenly the leaves on the tomato plant turn yellow.
Yeah.
And then guess what?
Huh.
It's so sick that it's not going to produce fruit
I
or
think
tomatoes.
that may have happened to me last year.
And so it's a soil-borne disease. So guess what? You're going to need to move your garden. If you had that last year, don't plant your tomatoes in that same
I'm not
batch
going
of
there.
soil.
I'm not going there.
It's bad news.
No way.
Because we don't want that.
You know
disease.
what I'm going to do? I'm going to do raised beds.
You know what? That's a great solution.
I'm doing
More
that.
people that have the raised beds with again, the eggshells and the compost and the mulch, they succeed.
Yep.
I think you're going to do well.
Watch the pictures show up on your Home Wizard Star. The BLTs I've eaten, you're going to love me.
Now, make sure you go to Tomatomania.com. It's a great website with all kinds of tips. And by the way, they have these different seminars, if you will, that are all throughout the state. And this one starts at Corona Del Mar next weekend. And I think that it's a lot of fun. They truly call it almost like the Woodstock for tomato freaks. And
Is that the one where they throw they have the final thing where they throw tomatoes at each other?
Because they have a huge tomato seed selling, frenzy.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's so many great tomatoes to watch for 2012. You want to think about the black cherry. It's purple black. You want to try. There's a tomato called Chocolate Stripes.
Oh.
Okay, and then there's another one called Black from Tula.
Really?
Or Amana Orange. or Lillian's Yellow Heirloom. We'll put them on the website.
All
A
right,
lot of
let's
crazy
check.
names, but got a good ones. All right, when we come back, we get email, and we have some questions on how do you know the difference between an annual and a perennial, and how do you know if your soil is just a bunch of dirt, and the list goes on, and you
Yep.
can ask us throughout the week at Facebook, but we'll answer some of our listeners' questions coming up next here on Home Wizards.
Great.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, don't you go away. We're just getting started.
I travel